Promoting agreements with co-parents. So I'm going to talk out a scenario here, and I want you to just picture this scenario that the child has just gotten into dad's computer or gotten into his tools, and dad is very upset. He reacts very mean, yells at the child, calling him a name, grabbing him and sending him to his room in an angry manner. The child runs to his mother and complains about how unfair dad was and how mean dad is. And now I'm going to talk about an ineffective way of resolving the issue of dad being mean and the kid being scared. Runs over to the mom, and mom physically puts her arm around the child and says, "He yelled at you again? I can't believe it." "What? He grabbed your arm? Are you okay? Oh my gosh, I can't believe dad did those things." And then you keep your arm around the child as if it's you and the child against dad. This could happen as co-parents in the same home, or co-parents, divorced parents living in separate homes. You're basically taking the child's side over the father. The child would feel angry at the father, protected and rescued by mom, and justified at not being responsible for his part that he played in this whole scenario. And the child will also believe, if I complain to mom, she'll handle it for me. And what do you think dad's going to feel? He's going to feel angry. He's going to feel undermined and sabotaged. He's going to feel alone and teamed up against, regardless of whether you live with the father or not. In this scenario where the mother was coddling the child, the mother was taking the side of the child. You teamed up against the father. And even if you're in a co-parenting situation where you don't live in the same home, it's always a good idea to try to co-parent effectively and be on the same page when possible. Of course, I'm not talking about if there's abuse. I'm just talking about like a simple overreaction on dad's part. We'll get to the effective solution in a minute. Another ineffective way would be, are you at it again? I can't believe it. I leave you two alone for just 5 minutes. I'm sick and tired of this. That's you against both of them. The child will feel unsupported, afraid, and alone. The father will also feel unsupported. And each person in this family is pretty much standing alone. There's no team in this family. And their problem, whatever the problem is not getting solved. Now, the third solution to this problem is the effective solution. So, the father gets angry at the child, sends the child away, the child runs to mom. Mom gently brings the child over to dad, lovingly touches both the child and the dad, lovingly within reason, and says, "It sounds like you need to be telling this to dad rather than me." And you go with the flow, with the role playing for a minute, and then you kind of be the facilitator without taking any sides. And then you allow them to work out their feelings. In this situation, everybody feels safe, everybody feels supported. You're working as a team to solve the problem. And dad feels, if you're married, feels close to the wife and the child. The dad will then feel safe to take responsibility for his overreaction and his own anger. And the child will be able to take responsibility for what they did in it. Please note, this is not the case if there's abuse. If there's abuse, you need to protect your child and take steps. We're not advocating mom bringing the child to an abusive father to work out an abusive situation. This is just a one-time thing where dad overreacted. There's a difference. Why do some parents disagree on discipline? One reason is that one parent is overly permissive or controlling. So one is controlling, one is permissive. And then the other parent tries to compensate for that. And think about this if you're married to the father and married to the mother, or if you're not, if you're divorced from them, or if you're not married but you're together. Some parents are in competition over who is the better parent. This happens sometimes in divorced and separated situations. One or both parents feel it's important to be right. Being right is more important than being close and having the child's best interest in mind. And then one parent might feel controlled or dominated by the other parent, so they subtly provoke the child to act out against the more dominant parent because they can't. That's very manipulative, and it's not fair to the child. One thing to point out in conflict resolution, in a way to handle disagreements in the way that you parent your children, is to focus on what you do agree with more than focusing on what you don't agree with. You can talk about the things that you don't agree with, but in coming up with calm resolution, you want to think of the ways that you do agree as a parent in order to come from an empathetic standpoint. If you live in the same home, you could use a word or a symbol to alert the other one that you're not comfortable with their parenting method and they need to stop, so that you can go talk about it privately and then come back together in a unified front.